with me, Miss Robertson. The artist that we're looking at today raises a lot of social questions. This means that they talk about subjects that are sometimes uncomfortable, but that's okay. Art's job isn't always just to look interesting or attractive. Sometimes it's to start a conversation, and that's what we're doing today. Jean-Michel Basquiat was born in 1960. He lived in Brooklyn, New York, and had a very difficult life. He left home at 17 and lived on the streets. Here we are passing over the Brooklyn Bridge. This footage is only from a couple of years ago, but to be able to understand Basquiat, we need to go back to 1980s New York. He became a graffiti artist and worked with his friends Al Diaz and Shannon Dawson together under the name Samo. A bit like Banksy, their work started anonymously popping up all over New York City. The art world began to notice. This made Basquiat quite the celebrity, and he began a career of his own. He had many exhibitions and played with his band in lots of cool New York clubs. Basquiat faced racism in his everyday life. To the art world, he was a celebrated artist, but in society, he was unable to catch a cab in New York City. He channeled these experiences into powerful paintings. He makes lots of references to current events in the 1980s. A lot of this is still relatable today. Much of our news, particularly last year, was dominated by stories of racism in America. This isn't just America's problem though. In this particular painting, Jean-Michel Basquiat talks about the irony of being a black policeman in America and his experience of being in the world as a black person. So he sees the police officer as the person who is attacking the black community and talking about how, as a black person, being a police officer would mean hurting your own community in America. We're all responsible for how we move forward as humans. And I think it's important that we remember the basics of being kind, of treating other people as you would like to be treated, and making sure that everyone is included. Not all of Jean-Michel Basquiat's work, however, was political or for change. He also loved pop culture and the images that go with that. Here we've got the dinosaur with a crown on it called Pez Dispenser. He used his paintings to really empty the contents of his mind. There's lots of scribbling and note-taking. It really paints the picture of a very busy brain. I'm going to show you two slightly different styles of doing a Basquiat painting. As always, I'm using paint, however, you could be using oil pastels, crayons, pencils, pens, whatever you have available to you. So I've really covered this back panel. I'm using a bit of cardboard to give it some strength, and I'm layering the paint on. I've sketched out with the paint the rough shape of a skull. Now, Jean-Michel Basquiat was obsessed with human anatomy. When he was ill as a child, his mother gave him a copy of Gray's Anatomy, which is a textbook that young doctors study from. He's known for his raw, gestural style of painting. This means his paintings might not look tidy and finished in the way that some other paintings do. He used bold, fast brush strokes in his work. And I'm using some unusual things, so I've just used a knife there, it's one that I use for painting a lot, to kind of move about and smoosh around the paint in the background. You can see how thick and textural that is. It's lumpy and bumpy. So my second painting, I've got a piece of black card this time, and I've just done a blob straight onto the card. Like we said before, my brush strokes are big and bold and gestural. I'm not taking ages trying to get the shape perfect. I'm not thinking too much as I'm doing this. I'm being expressive. And again, I'm just kind of wiggling the paint around, seeing what kind of shapes emerge, what's going to come out of this painting. Haven't really got a plan, I'm not thinking too much, but I've been looking at lots of different Basquiat paintings for inspiration. And I'm finding this kind of person type shape is emerging. And I'm not mixing it in with the white, I'm trying to plop it on top. It is all still wet just now. I'm applying it nice and thickly so it doesn't mix in together too much, but I'm not too worried. It's a quite joyful painting. I want this to be happy and kind of dancing around, feeling all of that energy swirling and whirling all around my character in this picture. Now you could have the paint set out on a palette. I've just got mine, I'm just applying it either straight to the brush or straight to the page. There's no right and wrong answer with this, it's just where you like to work from. In a lot of Basquiat's paintings, he has paint that's not dry and it's dripping. Lots of different techniques like that. So what I've done is just add lots of water to the bottom of this face that's emerging, and I'm just letting it run down just to add more kind of layers and effect onto the painting like he used. Now I've left my painting to dry overnight and I'm adding in a top layer with some Sharpie pen. I always find this really helps if you're layering up in your pictures. It just adds so much more. You don't have to create an artwork all in one go. It's very natural for artists to do a bit of work, go away and do something else, add on to it, come back. Sometimes it's nice to even approach a project with fresh eyes. The kind of words that reflect the current climate. So the things that are in my mind just now and in the news, it's things like coronavirus, it's things like Brexit and racism and climate change and the new president that's been sworn in, all of these things that kind of comment on society at the moment. So this is what I've created today. These are my final pieces. As always, remember to upload your artwork to the online classroom and I can't wait to see what you create.